let's talk about my September reads. So I read 20 books in September. They weren't all full-length novels, let's be real. I did read 6 physical books, a bunch of ebooks, and I listened to some audiobooks too. So let's talk about what I read, because I recorded this once already and had to fucking re-record it because there was no sound. I started the month off with a reread, so I was reading Barbarian's Rescue by Ruby Dixon. And then for book club, we read All Superheroes Need PR, which I liked this book. It needed a little polishing, but I'm excited for the next one, and I like the premise of this. A ways back, once upon a time, like 40 children fell from the sky, alien children, and we took them in, and they ended up developing superpowers, shocker, and so eventually they decided that they should use their powers for a purpose, so some became villains and some became heroes. And our MMC in this book decided that he was going to jump ship and go from being a villain to a hero. And so he hired this PR firm to represent him and help him change his image. And, well, what do you know? Sparks have happened, y'all. So, one thing led to another, and then we find out, what the real deal is with the aliens, because he really doesn't remember anything. And it's interesting. And lots of spice. And this book kicked off Elizabeth Stevens taking over my entire month of September, because I read and or listened to like 6 of her books last month, which I'm not complaining. I was into it. I read Lord of Population. Some of these chapters are ridiculously long. Ridiculously long. This story, really good. And the FMC, man, I kind of want to be like her when I grow up. And I'm glad that when I got this book box from Renegade, they sent me this sticker, because, her personal motto is never give up, even when you're dead. And goddamn, she really exemplifies that in this book. But they're basically vampire aliens that come and kind of take over the world, and everything becomes very dystopian and desolate. And she's on the run with her friends, and the daughter gets taken, and she goes to find her and meets, So I didn't continue that series, but I planned to. I just got really distracted. My mood readeriness has been like real bad. So then from there, I listened to her other series, well, part of it, the Very Mate series. So here they all are. It starts off with Taken to Varaxia, and then all the titles are like Taken to insert planet name here. And I really liked the first 3 books audio narrators, but there's a lot of alien language in these books, so the way they pronounce everything and pronounce the main characters' names, I really enjoyed. And then I got to the 4th audiobook, which I was waiting for that one because Chris Hawkes, I was like, oh, swoon, waiting for his book. And then the narrator switched, and we're totally different people, pronouncing all of the names and words wrong, and not doing the thing with dual narration where the female reads all the female parts in the book and the male reads all the male parts. So then in their individual chapters, they were trying to do the voices for other people instead of just having the male or female do it. So, the male narrator that I already disliked is all like, oh, Chris Hawkes, like during the spicy scenes. And I was like, bleh, bleh, literally stopped it and just went and read it. The book is really good. I read it on Kindle Unlimited and I loved it. From there, I read a mix of really random shit. Are you surprised? I'm not. I finished that whole Charmaine Ross series. It's like blah, blah, blah by the Barbarian Warlords. It's Omegaverse. The books are all very similar. Random human lady from Earth gets sucked through a wormhole unexpectedly from her shitty life, dropped on this planet into a random piece of it, and voila, 3 of these hot alien men are her mates. And she's gonna fight it for 3/4 of the book until she finally gives in. So that's fine. And then I read The Lone Cyborg by Honey Phillips. This is just like the last couple of these books, also very repetitive. It's short. I feel like more could be done with this series. The first couple of those were really great, and then they've just gotten like, okay, whatever. I read part of that anthology that Amazon put out that had like Allie Hazelwood, Ruby Dixon, Kimberly Lemming. I read the story that Kimberly Lemming wrote and the one that Ruby Dixon wrote, and I liked both of those. Ruby Dixon's was another space vampire. I guess that was the theme for this month. But I was like, man, I would have read a full-length novel about that, because it was only like 80 pages. And then he was like an experiment, or a clone, a splice. And the girl was, he was a splice, and the FMC is like a pet of an alien, and he leaves her there because the splice guy kind of escapes, and they're put the whole space station in lockdown and leave. And of course, you know, those two fall in love. But I would have read more about that. I hope we see more of that type of splice in the future in her books. And I liked Kimberly Lemming's story too. All My Boyfriends Are Monsters. All My Boyfriends Are Monsters. She goes hiking with her boyfriend and his shitty friends, and they leave her there on the side of the mountain and tell her, oh yeah, we'll meet you back home later, because you can't hack it because you're not fit. So she makes a wish, and the god of the forest, or whatever the fuck he was, he hears it and decides he's gonna, you know, grant her wish. I was like, that's a great premise. Can we have more of that somewhere? For the other book club, we read Scout's Honor, and I thought this book was cute. It's not marketed as YA, but for me, it felt very YA. Obviously, there's no spice in it. She's a teenager. Picture if Buffy was in the Girl Scouts and all the Girl Scouts were slayers. Only they can see the monsters, because you're either born with the ability or you drink this special tea and it gives you the ability to see the monsters. And no one can know about it except for the people in, what are they called, Ladybirds or something like that? But she saw her friend get murdered by monsters and kind of has PTSD and left the Scouts, and they ask her to come back and train this new batch of recruits. So she goes, and I don't know. I thought it was cute. I enjoyed it, and I liked her whole relationship with her boyfriend. He was lovely, and her friends and all that. And Nicole gave me this book because I helped her at one of the events, and I really liked this book. If you're looking for a good spooky read for this month, check out 2 for Tea. I also didn't realize it was written by the same person that wrote Morning Glory Milking Farm, but actually, after seeing the cover, the art is very similar, and I was like, I should have picked up on that. But I really liked this one. I liked this better than Morning Glory Milking Farm. It is not as spicy, per se, but I actually thought Morning Glory Milking Farm was kind of like the slowest, weirdest slow burn ever. But maybe that's just me. There's a phantom, she's a witch, and she starts going to this tea shop, and then you write your order down, and this like magical tea cart brings your order, but it's really, you know, the love interest here. So I actually have to go back and see if they pop up anywhere else. I went to these other 2 books, the Mabon Feast and this other one, the one that comes after it, because I thought that they came next, but they're actually like their own spin-off series. They write a bunch of interconnected books, and I'm confused. So I jumped around drastically and fucked that all up for me. But I also liked these because she's like, she reminds me of me. She doesn't like people. She doesn't really need people. And then she lets this spider guy rent an apartment in her house, and they fall in love. So, you know, also good reads for this time of year. And then I also, because I received this book from Evangeline Anderson, so I read it. But it's got that premise that I love, where alien dudes need Earth to supply them with mates, and they see their person and they're like, that one. And then they select them, they go through the council thing, and then the government like brings them in, and they're like married for like a month and have to go through these different weekly things, like where like they're not allowed to, like, they can touch but they can't do anything for the first week, and then the next week is like the bathing week, and like there's different little things to get them to get closer to each other, and then they end up, you know, falling in love. But there's like 3 different races of aliens, and I need to continue this series too because I want to see what it's like with the other branches of these dudes. And then I read J.R. Ward's new book, Lover Forbidden. Been waiting for this one, and can I just say that I am a moron because I didn't realize who the MMC was until, like, I don't know, I feel like I was like this far into the book. I was like almost done, and I was like, oh, I'm dumb. Like, I realized who he was right before they revealed it. I'm a moron. I also would have liked for him to be more evil. But overall, the book was really good. It made me cry. She always does. I think that's everything. I may have forgotten some, because I'm just kind of annoyed that I had to re-record a perfectly good video that I already recorded. But what did you read in September? I would love to hear about it. And I'm still getting good grades in college, so that's good. So somehow I went to work, lived my life, helped Nicole with events, read 20 books, and I have an A in one class and a B in the other. I'm just not good at macroeconomics. But anywho, let me know how you're doing, what you're reading, what's going on. Okay, love you. Bye.